me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
I know that plays out so often in our individual leagues and programs with our rec offerings. There are individuals that are investing in other young humans. It ties them to place, ties them to another human being that allows them to be resilient through the big struggles of life. For some of us, those are individual spaces. They aren't that human connection as much as it's that connection to the individual place. See, that's the big why, time and time again. And it's pretty special to be able to give back in the work I do now.
Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, live from the 2025 NRPA Conference. In this episode, host Craig LeBlanc sits down with Brian Myers and Dave Fair from Post Falls, Idaho, two leaders who've spent decades shaping their fast-growing community through the power of parks and recreation. From managing explosive population growth to preserving tree canopies and creating spaces that connect people, Bryan and Dave share how their work bridges old and new residents. They also open up about their why, the personal stories that inspired lifelong careers in Parks and Rec, from helping a struggling athlete find hope to bringing joy to a small farming town through soccer. It's a heartfelt look at the people behind the parks, and a reminder that Parks and Rec isn't just about green spaces. It's about growing communities. Let's dive in. All right, we are live again. This is Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show, live from the Orlando convention here, the NRPA convention here live in Orlando, Florida. And I have, did y'all drive here from Idaho? Or did y'all take a plane?
We drove a plane.
We drove a plane here.
There's planes, trains, and automobiles for me.
Yeah.
We came down a little bit early at the West Palm and rode the train up afterwards. So.
Fantastic. Now, how many people did y'all bring from the state? Got a little small group, or?
I think we had 8 on our group chat from the state of Idaho that made it out.
Fantastic.
With the Idaho Recreation Parks Association.
So glad to have y'all.
And that also means there's a few we never found. So usually we'll have about a dozen come out.
Probably got lost.
Yeah.
Well, I've had Bryan on the show a couple of times. He's helped me with the urban forestry, and he actually helped give us a little demo of a fully autonomous lawnmower. So I really appreciate that. But maybe y'all can tell the followers of the Daily Parks and Rec Show a little bit about yourselves and what's going on in Idaho.
Well, Dave, you want to head it out?
Sure. I'm Dave Fair. I'm the Parks and Rec Director for Post Falls, Idaho. Been there 30 years now in 2 stints, and then spent a lot of time over in the Seattle area. Things that are happening is just growth. We are looking at a city that when I started, 25 years ago, it was 7,500 people. Now we're pushing 50,000. And it's just managing that growth, even finding land so we can have it. Because once it's gone, it's gone. And then it's changing demand. So, but through it all, it's good.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I've had the opportunity to be one of those boomerang employees that has come back to Post Falls, much like Dave. Started in Post Falls in 2010 after a career of running a landscape maintenance business, and a little period of time working as parks manager or park operator in the field, and then I snuck away to go be a ski bum for a year.
Oh, lucky you.
Yes, and Dave had me back. We bumped into him at our community's largest festival, and he said, "We've got a new job being created." And 6 months later, I was in that role and haven't really looked back for the last almost 10 years or 11 years.
Fantastic. That's typically how Parks and Rec goes.
And I don't quite remember it that way. I think you begged me because you are a terrible skier.
Well, I have a great little video for y'all. I'd love to get y'all's feedback on. And so we made this as a gift from the Daily Parks and Rec Show. We have 7 very talented digital artists that work for us full time, creating content on the industry of parks and recreation. And I asked them, I said, look, these guys are struggling, fighting for tax dollars to fund the great work they are doing. Let's make them something that they can use
just reframe the conversation and start it from a position of this is absolutely an essential service. So we'll go ahead and play this and we'll come right back and talk about it.
When we talk about essential services, what comes to mind? Police, firefighters, healthcare. But there's another essential service, often overlooked, yet always present. Parks and recreation. Parks and Rec is health. It's the walking trail that lowers blood pressure, the recreation center where seniors fight isolation, the swim lessons that prevent tragedy before it happens. This isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Parks and Rec is safety, a playground instead of a street corner, a basketball court instead of trouble, a summer camp where every child belongs. It's not just about activity, it's about protection, prevention, and possibility. Parks and Rec is community, the festival that brings neighbors together, the cultural event that teaches respect and diversity, the open space where a city breathes. It builds bridges where division once stood. It gives people a reason to gather, to connect, to care. And Parks and Rec is economics. It strengthens property values. It drives tourism through events and trails. It saves on healthcare costs. Every dollar invested multiplies, feeding back into schools, into safety, into growth. Essential service is not just about survival, it's about thriving. And Parks and Recreation is where thriving begins. In wellness, in equity, in culture, and in joy. Parks and Rec isn't extra, it's essential. For our health, for our safety, for our communities, for our future. A message from the Parks and Recreation community.
So any thoughts on that so far?
It's spot on. It's what we do. It is essential. I like to push that it's not a mandated. We're there because the people want us, but we don't do it alone either. Whether it's police, fire, planning, we all have to work together. We're a community, we're a city, everybody has different needs, but we're a part of that play for a city.
Yeah. Yeah, and Bryan, maybe you can speak on, because we spoke a lot about urban forestry and the tree canopies and the tree inventory and what that does to a community to make it beautiful and to make it to where it's bearable in those hot days. And that is, I think that when we think about the infrastructure that Parks and Rec maintains as part of the essential services that you would want in a city.
Yeah, we talked about the urban forestry piece, but I think as a whole, the work we do really creates those bridges between different sectors of the community. Where our community is a large population of folks that are relatively new to the community. Like, we are that piece that bridges that old part of the community to these new populations that are coming to town and the demands that they're having in the new space. That they come with their ideas, their experiences from somewhere else, and some of that's fresh and new, and some of it has to be just adjusted to be able to fit the place that they are now. And Park and Rec offers that. Urban forestry touches everybody's front yard. It touches everybody's commute on the way to the community. And it's, for us, it's been one of those opportunities with our department to reach into the community development process and be involved in subdivision plan reviews and be a part of those early discussions at the time that developers are looking for new subdivisions to come into the community, and really have some face and build trust that way. It goes both ways. We've got to be responsive to that community. We've got to be on time and meet their expectations so they can deliver the product housing. But really, it's about creating environments for housing. It's one of the messages that's come out of this conference that really resonated with me. How do we really create a habitat for our residents? it's not just about housing. It's about creating quality habitats for people to not like.
Yep, absolutely. Dave?
Well, I have to agree with Bryan, but I think a big part is it also calms the community. It allows people to get out, to see each other. We're in a fast-growing community. The thing was, take the fields, the farmers' fields, put in the houses, but we for years gave away trees, and now to see them, you've got this canopy throughout these neighborhoods that just it changes the whole outlook of a city.
Yeah,
So it's critical, absolutely critical.
yeah. So maybe we can talk, and I want to play one other video, but this one was for why you should consider Parks and Recreation as a career path. And unfortunately, a lot of our universities are starting to not offer Parks and Rec degrees or focus on Parks and Recreation. So we made this video that could be played in front of a classroom of undecided or part-time workers that are, doing summer camps or work in special events or concession stands. And then maybe when we come back, you can explain, each of you, what is your why? Why did you decide to dedicate your life to the career of Parks and Recreation? So we'll play this and we'll come right back and get that from you.
Every career is a choice, but few careers let you touch lives. Not once in a while, but every single day. Step into a park on a Saturday morning. You'll hear children laughing on the soccer field, families gathering for a picnic, seniors walking the trails, finding health and friendship. And behind every smile, every memory, is a Parks and Rec professional. We don't just mow fields, we grow confidence in young athletes. We don't just build playgrounds, we create safe spaces where childhood thrives. We don't just plan events, we design moments that anchor generations. Think of the coach who teaches patience, the director who champions equity, the staff member who sees potential in a child no one else believed in. Every day, Parks and Rec professionals shape character, preserve beauty, and strengthen community. And the path isn't easy. Budgets are tight, resources stretched thin, but the reward, unmatched, because what you give comes back in legacy, in healthier communities, in lives forever changed. So why dedicate your life to Parks and Recreation? Because here, your work never ends. It lives on, in laughter echoing across playgrounds, in green spaces preserved for the next century, in the young professionals rising to lead tomorrow. This is not just a career, it's a calling. It's a legacy. It's Parks and Recreation. A message from the Parks and Rec community.
So why should someone consider Parks and Recreation as a career path? If you're speaking to a group of, let's say you're giving a sales pitch to a group of young kids in college, not really knowing what they want to do with their life, what kind of testimony would you tell them?
I gotta let Bryan start out.
You're gonna let me lead on this
Yes.
And you can grab a little bit
All right.
closer. There you go.
So I have to go with a story here because I think for me, one of the big whys kind of roots itself in this, how this played out. Playing high school sports, we had a guy on our team that had a really rough background, really struggled at home, and the classroom was a struggle as well. And sports was that one place where he had the ability to just be present and move through life. And it gave him a reason to keep going. And I remember he was playing on a pair of just trashed out cleats. And I remember our athletic trainer came up to me pre-practice one day with a brand new box of cleats and asked me to share these with this individual. And to watch the tears well up in his eyes, he didn't know where they came from. It wasn't me that was giving him these cleats, but it was just that moment of, wow, somebody cares. And I know that plays out so often in our individual leagues and programs with our rec offerings. They're individuals that are investing in other young humans that otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity. And it ties them to place, it ties them to another human being that allows them to be resilient through the big struggles of life. For some of us, those are individual spaces. They aren't that human connection as much as it's that connection to the individual place. And for me, that's the big why, time and time again. And it's pretty special to be able to give back in the work I do now to that trainer who enjoys our trails on his commute into work every day. To be able to receive a thank you from him is pretty rewarding. To know that he's still making an impact on lives of students in that similar way, because that's who he is. That's his why. And we sit in a unique place where we can touch so many different people in so many different ways. So pretty special.
Yeah, love that. Great message. Dave?
Well, for me, it's almost why not, but I didn't plan to ever be in Parks and Recreation. I was going to go into sports management. I didn't grow up around Parks and Recreation. I was in an area of King County where they didn't service it. But I started taking the programs. I loved it. They required us to go out and do practicum. I was into soccer. So for the Whitman County, I was a soccer coordinator. And I went all over to the small farming towns and taught soccer and then officiated it. And I'm out in the middle of the wheat field, small town, rainy, nasty. And this gentleman came up to me in his late 80s, had a Scottish brogue. He had a tattered FIFA rule book that he had had as a boy. He had immigrated out, and he was so excited to see that in his community. So to see that impact where it touched one person's life. And then I did it with the city of Pullman. But every time I kept seeing how much of an impact we had on individual lives and a community's vibrancy, that I didn't stay in sports management. I got into Parks and Recreation. I've done it for 43 years full-time now, 30 years with Post Falls, actually getting to retire. And it's kind of like, what is that next legacy? And maybe it's got to be connected to Parks and Recreation. It's a life. It's not just something you do for money.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, thank y'all so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate y'all's testimony, sharing it with us. And thank y'all for coming all the way from Idaho. Hopefully we can see y'all. Do we know where the next one is? I think they've already announced it. Philadelphia. Oh my gosh, that's going to be a beautiful city to visit. I can't wait. Are y'all attending next year as well?
Likely.
Fantastic.
Likely.
I may be traveling.
Who knows? Maybe I can convince you to come out to Twin Falls for our Idaho Recreation.
Yeah, absolutely. We are hoping to take this show on the road. I think we're visiting 8 states this year, where we'll actually do the state convention, and I'd love to put Idaho Falls on that.
Twin Falls.
Twin Falls. And when is that? What time of year is it?
We're mid-April.
We might be able to pull that off. Let's stay in touch about it.
Sounds good.
Thank y'all so much, guys.
Thanks, Greg.
Have a great day. Bye.
At DPRS Media Co., we believe Parks and Recreation isn't just a service, it's the heartbeat of our communities. We exist to honor the people, the vendors, and the leaders shaping the future of Parks and Rec. Our mission is simple: to tell their stories, highlight their careers, and celebrate their essential work. Our vision is bold: to be the trusted hub where leaders, vendors, and communities unite, inspiring innovation, sharing wisdom, and building a stronger, healthier nation. Through over 220 live shows and 6 weekly series, the Leadership Series, Facility Maintenance, Young Professionals Network, Youth Sports Mastery, The Rec Room, and Growing Leaders, plus our industry-leading newsletter, the weekly Parks and Rec Post, we're building a media platform made for the Parks and Rec community. And now, we're inviting strategic partners to co-create this story with us. As a partner, you'll gain 12 hours of annual live exposure with custom shows highlighting your expertise, polished 60-second promos refined for maximum impact, year-round visibility with dozens of replays across our media network, premium features in our newsletter, and amplified social media reach across LinkedIn, X, and Facebook. This is your chance to educate, inspire, and lead while connecting directly with the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. This is DPRS Media Co., Let's build the future of Parks and Rec together.